I want to introduce our first panel now, which is on technology and AI, something I think we all really need to know about. The leader of our panel is a serial entrepreneur. If you want to start making your way up here, she is the co-founder of Clarity, Gilt Group, Glam Squad. She's transforming the way we shop and experience luxury. She knows what it takes to build something big, to take risks, and to disrupt businesses, as you've done so many times now. Please welcome the moderator for the Technology and AI panel, Alexandra Wilkis Wilson. Alexandra, thank you.
I'm hoping you can hear me. Yes, okay, the mic is on. Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to be here and even more excited to introduce this dynamic, super powerful group of founders who are really disrupting AI and technology. So I'm going to give you quick introductions and then we'll get right to it. So to my left, Sonya Gill is the founder of The Link. Check out her site, it's amazing. Shop The Link, which is spelled LNK. I'm saying this because I always tell her she doesn't say it enough. So Sonya is a serial entrepreneur, founder of The Link, a global commerce platform helping brands in emerging markets scale internationally by simplifying logistics, payments, and trade. So think companies, brands from emerging markets all around the world. She'll tell you more about it. She has a background in media, tech, and international business. She's known for her sharp insights on founder reinvention, operational growth, and global expansion. Sonya is a sought-after voice on scaling both companies and the people behind them. She lives in Toronto. Next, we have Vanessa Liu from Sugarwork, founder of Sugarwork. Vanessa is the co-founder CEO of Sugarwork, a generative AI platform. Means that transforms institutional knowledge into AI. She previously led SAP.io North America, 87 enterprise startups, and co-founded Inside Hook. Vanessa began her career at McKinsey and has served on multiple boards, including Harvard Board of Overseers. Next, we have Dr. Niamh O'Hara, founder of Biosha. Dr. Niamh O'Hara is a health tech entrepreneur and evolutionary biologist and co-founder CEO of Biosha, genomics and AI to combat infectious diseases. I asked her to please keep things positive today. She also serves as a research professor at SUNY Downstate and has led groundbreaking work on the microbiome and pathogen detection. And finally, Heather Udo, co-founder, CEO of Shoppable, a patented e-commerce tech platform behind universal checkout experiences used by brands like the Wall Street Journal, Best Buy, and Neiman Marcus. A serial entrepreneur and inventor with 4 US patents, Heather has earned recognition from L'Oreal, Gotham Magazine, Refinery 29, and continues to shape the future of commerce and mentor emerging founders. Okay, now let's get into this. We are living in a moment where AI and technology are not just tools, they are rewriting the rules of business, healthcare, and human creativity in real time. We have 4 founders at the cutting edge of AI and tech here to share with you their insights and perspectives. So very quickly, can each of you explain in a couple of sentences what your company does?
So I'll go first. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. So I work in emerging markets. I do want to say as a caveat for anyone thinking of their next business idea, the emerging markets are rising like I've never seen. We specifically work out of Africa, India, and Latin America, and we help facilitate consumer and small business relationships, but we also help take care of cross-border payments, currency, language, English as a second language, product one way for them, different for us, how we comprehend them. They may not know we have different holidays here, and they have completely different holidays. This is still not working. Oh, here we go. Okay.
I might take that. Good morning, everyone. So my business helps companies essentially extract the tacit knowledge that is in your heads so that you can document it and then train AI workflows, but also train the people around you. If you really think about the knowledge that is in a company, maybe 20% is in systems like your ERP systems, your Salesforce system, for instance, in documents, but 80% is in our heads. If you think about what makes your business run, how do you run it that way? Who do you talk to? How do you make things happen? That is not documented anywhere most of the time. So what my company is doing is helping companies document that so that we can essentially help them identify where they should be optimizing, identify where they can be automating. And of course, like nowadays with generative AI, so many people are thinking about what an incredible technology it is, but what a lot of people are overlooking the fact is that you have to train your AI systems just like you train people. And so there's been a lot of talk about how 95% of AI deployments don't make it past pilots to production. It's exactly this step, and so that's what we're doing at Sugarwork.
Would anyone like an explanation of what generative AI means? Would that be helpful? Okay, yes, really fast.
Okay, really fast. And so AI obviously has been around for many, many years, but what is really distinctive now, the generative part, is that these models can help us reason. And so I think, just a show of hands, how many of us are using ChatGPT or Claude or on like probably like a daily basis? Or, and so I don't know if you've asked it the same question several times, but you probably have noticed that if you do that, it gives you a slightly different answer every time because it's reasoning, is using these neural networks to figure things out. I think that is what is so different about the AI models of today versus beforehand, which were very rules-based. And so because of that, you can take a lot of unstructured data and structure it. And so what is really exciting now is that if you think about, of course, like, I think a lot about knowledge and the things that are in our heads. If you ask somebody to just document it, it's really hard. But think about basically recording these. You are able to use the AI to reason with it. So that is what generative AI is allowing you to do.
Thanks. Thanks so much. This is an amazing morning and so great to meet this community. I'm Niamh O'Hara, as Alexandra mentioned, with Biosha. So at Biosha, we are tackling the problem that 14 million people die annually from infectious diseases. I'm sorry, I can't keep it too happy. I'll try some of the time. But yeah, we're tackling this problem. And what we're doing is we're building better diagnostics and biosecurity tools. And we're using genomics and AI to do that. So we've built and launched a recurrent UTI product, for example, because we saw this really key gap in care, mostly for women suffering from recurrent UTIs, which can lead to sepsis and all sorts of issues. So we built a more advanced technology and just got regulatory approval on that this year nationwide. So we're really trying to address these gaps in care that we see in women's health and also just in infectious diseases and challenging infections in general.
Hi, so I'm Heather Udo. I'm the founder and CEO of Shoppable. And Shoppable is distributed e-commerce technology. So we've created a very large product catalog of over 500 million product SKUs from all of the largest retailers and brands globally now. And then we have a universal checkout. And those two things we license to brands, to advertisers, publishers, even TV companies to be able to create shoppable experiences that allow the shopper to buy anything within those experiences with a single click.
Okay, Heather, we're going to stick with you. What excites you most about how AI is reshaping your industry?
So right now I'm super excited because just this week, OpenAI and Stripe announced checkout directly within ChatGPT. And they also, with this, they also announced something called the Agentic Commerce Protocol, which makes it easier for other companies to be able to also create commerce within chats across a number of other locations. And a lot of people don't realize it, but 800 million people are using ChatGPT every single week. And for context, that is the size of the entire United States and half of Europe combined.
Okay, I've known Heather a very long time, and I'm never shy to say, okay, dumb it down for me. So can you dumb it down and explain what that means? So you're in ChatGPT, you're looking for shopping, and what does that mean?
Yeah, so imagine you're in ChatGPT. Maybe you want to buy a gift for your child. You can say, my child's 6 years old. She helped me find a gift for her. She likes gymnastics and dance, or whatever you want to say. And then, and find something under $100 or whatever you want to put, hit enter, and it will serve up actual products you can buy directly within the chat with one click. You never even leave the chat to go to another site. And right now, it's only live with Etsy, but they're going to be releasing additional retailers very soon.
Sounds like this is a big deal in the future.
Very big deal. Yes.
Same for you, Niamh. What excites you most about AI in your industry?
Yeah, so there's a lot going on in health tech, biotech, using AI, so accelerating drug discovery, for example, or predicting how different medications can impact, for cancer patients, et cetera. In my field specifically, in diagnostics and infectious diseases, we really suffer from outdated and limited testing tools, and it means that patients are often treated blindly. So just basically throw antibiotics at the problem and see what happens. So what we're doing is we are using precision medicine in infectious diseases. So we test a patient, we identify what's there really accurately, and then we predict which antimicrobials will treat the infection that you have. So it means better health outcomes and hopefully intervening before a case gets to sepsis or something.
Vanessa?
So I think about just the notion of why we need to capture knowledge, and it's really because we can really enable people to be even better at their roles and really just focus on those areas that they love.
So a case in point, one of our customers right now, just thinking about healthcare, is a large healthcare provider. And so what they're finding is that a lot of their staff are spending a lot of time doing paperwork. I mean, whenever we go and we encounter healthcare, we see that quite a lot. Imagine how much better your physicians, your nursing staff would be if they can take as much of that away as possible. That's what I'm really excited by. But you can't do that unless you actually download what it is that you know. So one of the healthcare providers that we're talking about, just very concretely, we're trying to streamline their what's called the prior authorization process. So if you think about, well, I need to get this procedure done, I need to make sure the insurance company is going to authorize it. That usually requires an incredible amount of paperwork, a lot of calls, and it's extremely, extremely tedious. And it just takes a lot of time, and a lot of people just don't get the care that they need on time as a result. And so what we are doing is essentially mapping what it is that people do along that whole entire chain so that we can make their work even faster. So instead of waiting 2 weeks for something, it could just be done in a matter of seconds. And so that's what I'm really excited about, that we can just, you think about all the tedious work that we don't like, and that's repetitive, that could really be taken away and augmented so we could focus on very higher value impact work.
So when my husband found out I was doing this panel, he was laughing because he's like, you're one Wi-Fi signal away from getting a landline and a pager. And I joke all the time, I was joking to Sophia too, I said the dead internet is here, I'm done. But jokes aside, I am excited for technology and AI, it's the world I live in. One of the things that excites me the most, and if you have not looked at Alibaba's shares lately, they've skyrocketed. They've poured about $70 million into technology and AI. Jack Ma is back. I didn't even know he left, but he's back. He was exiled, I didn't know, and he is back. So they just recently launched a platform called Axio, ACCIO.com. And you can go on Axio and say, for example, you wanted to develop, I don't know, a sweater for sensitive skin. You could go on Axio and then type in, I would like to create sweaters for sensitive skin, and they will connect you directly with suppliers overseas that will help you find that material, and then they will help you source that material. So that really excites me because, again, I see in these emerging markets what these guys are doing, and we're so focused over here that they're working lightning speed over there, and they're working very fast. And what I love is the work that compounds silently behind the scenes, and then when it comes out, you're like, whoa, where did that come from? So keep an eye out on emerging markets.
Which is a good segue, I think, because now you've all shared rather positive things about AI in your industries, but I think all of us probably worry. We have fears, we have questions. There's questions about bias, privacy, job security. So maybe we can make this more interactive, so feel free to jump in on each other's comments, and we'll start with Sonya. But when you think about the future, what worries you most about how AI could create and amplify problems?
So I think a lot of us use ChatGPT or OpenAI as a therapist. I know I do for my hormonal issues. What is going on with me today? What's scary about that, because I know a lot of people that use ChatGPT, Claude, all of them, to help them answer questions, deep questions. And sometimes ChatGPT will come back and say, well, I'm not a doctor, but here's what I think is going on. The problem is that, say for example, you had some stuff going on at work, and you were like, how do I deal with this person? Today, there's no real legal barriers. There's no real law that says that say you had to go to court, say a problem happened and it took you all the way to court. Nothing's stopping anyone from going into your ChatGPT account and going in and figuring out exactly the type of questions you were asking, and then for them to make a summation of the type of person they think you are. And that's scary. So I always say is, there are OpenAI, or there's AI enterprise platforms out there that I would much rather you use than putting everything into Claude or ChatGPT, because, again, we don't know what that legal barrier is.
What's safer? What do you feel is safer?
Oh, me?
Or anyone?
Oh, gosh.
Take note.
I would like not to use any of them. I'm kidding. Honestly, I use them very gingerly. I go back and forth between Chat and Claude. I go back and forth between both of them. I recently downloaded Comet from Perplexity, which we'll get to at a later question. I really like Comet and Perplexity, but honestly, of all of them, I think Claude would probably be my favorite.
Okay, so takeaway, be careful what you put out there.
I think along those lines, like I'm super paranoid as a person. I don't know why, but I try to actually access the LLMs in a sandbox, and so it's much safer that way. And so that's like something you could
dumb it down for us,
Sorry,
Vanessa.
sorry. If you think about your the models like accessing ChatGPT or Claude through your business, they're doing it through servers where whatever it is that you put in won't go back and train the LLMs. And so that's like a way to get around some of these issues. But then again, your company will then have access to that data, but that's like another question. I think for me, what really worries me, I think about this quite a lot, like with my hat on, I spend quite a lot of time, I think, with Harvard, and thinking about viewpoint diversity, thinking about how we communicate as people. I think the more and more that people are just like leaning on technology tools to solve problems, what about the human element? Like even in companies, if you're going to be automating a lot of your processes, how about if you have a very frustrated employee who's like, I need to get this taken care of, but I have to go online, I have to talk to a chatbot. I can't talk to HR directly because I have to talk to this chatbot. It's telling me to go here and route here. I think some of us are seeing that nowadays when it comes to customer service and dealing with companies. How about the human element? to ensure that we keep that? How about ensuring that we know how to disagree with one another productively and constructively? Because if we're not taught that, because we're minimizing now a lot of the human interaction, I worry a lot about that.
Yeah, I love all these responses. Just from my standpoint, bringing it back to health tech and healthcare, there's some really exciting advancements that are constantly being made. Just, I think last week, the week before, was the first instance of an AI that was able to generate a self-replicating genome. So kind of, you can think it's not generating life, but it's like life adjacent. It generated a bacteriophage, which is a virus that can infect bacteria, which has great applications, right? Because if you have an infection that's drug resistant, we can, an AI could make a virus that can solve your infection basically for you. So that's wonderful, has all these applications, but then thinking about what else can happen there with, creating really scary pathogens and stuff. So there's very clear guardrails that need to be in place that the governments, because this is a global issue, need to be regulating, in this space. Sorry to go back to the scary again. This is my job.
I asked what's scary, so you have to answer.
I'll bring it back to shopping. So, but one of the concerns I would say within e-commerce and retail is fraud, and fraud is already a huge problem. There's $50 billion worth of losses every single year due to fraud. And although AI has lots of benefits, it can also be used to create more fraud. So you have to be careful because it can do things like replicate and impersonate a retailer calling you to just confirm your billing details, or things like that. And so I'll leave it with that. But you just have to be careful with those types of things, or the ability to spin up a website and really look like it's genuinely from a real brand or retailer, and it's not.
Any advice any of you have for those of us who shop online to be safe?
Usually outbound calls, emails, or chats directly with them are going to be safer than anyone inbounding to you.
So sometimes I get a call, they say they're from such and such place. I'm like, thank you very much, can I call you back? Which is annoying, it wastes a couple of minutes, but it's safe.
It's safer, yeah.
Okay, moving right along. We have 18 minutes left. Sonya, you talk about founder reinvention. How has AI changed how you lead and scale the link?
Okay, I'm going to break this question down into 3 parts. So what I mean by founder reinvention is, in my 20s, I was trying to prove myself to the world. And I remember walking into meetings, putting my hair back, putting on a pair of fake glasses, just so I looked smart, and walking into these rooms that I felt like I didn't belong in, but trying to prove myself in my late 20s. My 30s, after I sold my first company, was ego, and it was like feeling like I'm top of the world, and what else can I do when I'm out there, and getting my ass kicked a little bit. And towards my late 30s and early 40s, being humbled. And of course now perimenopausal. And now in my 40s, I feel like I've learned a lot, and I have a lot of wisdom to share. I have many years ahead of me, but the reinvention I'm in now, and when I'm leading my team is all younger than me. I have a team of 10 engineers. They're all men. My creative team, all women, but they're all younger than me, and which leads me into my second part, which is when new tools come out, they all want to use the new tool right away. And I mean, I come from the age of like MSN Messenger. Like, that's where I started. And so I always say to them, and I break it down to something called first principles thinking. And what that means is, if I gave you Lego, right, and you built up this massive tower, what if we broke that tower apart and we took it back to like the most basic piece? Why did we build this tower the way it was in the first place? And I always encourage the team that, yes, there's all these amazing tools that are out there, but go back to first principles thinking. You guys are creative, you're smart, you're geniuses. Like, this is the reason I hired you guys. don't rely so much on these tools. I want to know what you have in that brain of yours first. And so that's where I'm leading from now. And finally, the third part that I always remind my team is, if the Wright brothers, you guys all know the Wright brothers, if the Wright brothers today had AI, and they put into AI, is flying possible? AI would say, no, it's not possible. So we have to use AI very gingerly, because if we don't use first principles thinking and we always go to the tools, we're going to not use this very soon. And we're going to stop inventing. And we're going to stop being inventive and curious. I have 2 boys, and I always say to them, like, before you go to AI, figure it out for yourself first. So I hope I answered that question.
I love that. Vanessa, from your vantage point, accelerating 87 startups, what separates the AI winners from the rest?
I think this is less about the AI winners and just winners and those that are struggling. Really, in this day and age of incredible technology, I think a lot of founders focus on how great their technology is rather than thinking about what problem am I going to solve. And so what I've found is that those companies that do incredibly well are relentlessly focused on, this is what I'm trying to help you solve. And so that is just something I've seen across the board. So whenever I talk to founders, I'm always like, well, what is it that you're trying to do? Don't tell me how great your technology is. Tell me what it is that you're trying to make better.
Niamh, how do you bridge the gap between rigorous science and commercialization in AI healthcare?
Yeah, so it's a very long process, is the short answer. So we're in a regulated space that we're building diagnostics that have to go through regulatory review, et cetera. And so, for example, this recurrent UTI product that we have out, it took us, it's deep tech, and we partnered with hospitals to develop it, et cetera. So it took about 5 years to develop it, 18 months of regulatory review, and I mean, we're a startup, so the life cycle of a startup is usually shorter than that. So it's been just this process of staying alive through that. But basically now it's in market, and so we're seeing, because we spent so much time on the R&D validation, and we had so much guidance from regulatory reviewers, that the product works incredibly well, and we're starting to see it, like stories from patients come and just seeing how it's impacting their lives. So it's really inspiring at this point. But yeah, overall, it's just this very long process. Yeah.
Heather, where do you see AI in retail 5 years from now?
Yeah, so in 5 years, I think AI will kind of start to fade to the background and be a little bit more invisible, because sometimes the best technology is there and you don't really even notice it. So some of the things that are changing specifically in the direction that it's going, we talked a little bit about how the discovery process is changing with consumers. They used to, 90% of the time, they used to discover things at search, then Amazon took half of it. Now about 20% of discovery, meaning the first time you're kind of looking for products, is happening within a chat bot. But other things that are going to change, it's going to be a lot more personalized to you. It'll start to predict what you want before you know you want it, because it's using all of the data that we've been providing. It's using that data to be able to predict what you want and before you need it.
Pay attention. I remember being at a conference 18 years ago and in Chicago, and they were telling me, in the future, nobody's going to carry their credit cards and their keys. You're going to have a digital wallet on your phone. And I was like, yeah, right, okay, whatever. How is that possible? And I mean, we now are clearly living it. So listen to what Heather just said. Okay, so Vanessa asked earlier how many of you are using AI, and it seemed like the majority, vast majority. So show of hands, how many of you would like to get better at using it and use it for more use cases? Okay, most of you. Not all, because there are risks. All right, so we're going to plow through this quickly. Sonya, what is a unique way you've used AI recently to solve a problem or save time?
There is a really cool, I'm from Canada. I'm your favorite Canadian friend. I will be everyone's friend here. But there is an AI chat bot, I want to call it chat bot, but we can call it a platform, called Bordy. Have you guys heard of Bordy? Boardy. It helps you facilitate connections. And I use it religiously to connect with either investors, with people I want to hire, and it will go and actually make the email introduction for you. And because Bordy is so well known, especially in Canada, people will actually reply. They'll say, yeah, let's hop on a call. And I've done so many calls just through Bordy being the facilitator and being the connector. So that has been one of my favorite all-time tools this year.
I had a very similar tool called Jiva, which also basically goes on LinkedIn and does like outbound emails for me, which is fantastic. But one of the things that I've really loved doing of late is actually just coding. I'm not technical, but now you can actually build things like using Claude Code. And I don't know how many of you have had the chance to do that, but it's literally, you just give it a prompt to say, this is what I want you to build, help me build it. It'll open up basically a screen to tell you, okay, this is the code that you could put in and build. I'm having so much fun with it because I'm on a path to get my kids to be more on time. And I'm like, what can you help me do to build something like this? And this is what I want the product to be. And so I'm having the best time. And they're just like, Mom, please stop using us as guinea pigs. I'm like, okay, this is great. But give that a shot. If you haven't tried it, use Claude Code and literally say, this is what I want to build. It could be something as small as, could you just help me put things onto my calendar? And it'll just make you feel very, just in tune with what you can do from a capabilities perspective.
Yeah, these are great responses. Thinking of something I can add. I've been fundraising recently, which is really time consuming. And there's a lot of, conversations, and then folks would like to see the data that you have in a different format and splice and dice things differently. So definitely using generative AI like ChatGPT for those uses has been a lot of time-consuming, time-saving sort of measures for me.
Yeah, so I'll give an example that can probably be used by a lot of different people in different ways. With what I had to do recently is my husband and I are renovating our home, and we had to replace our HVAC system. I know absolutely nothing about HVACs, and got 5 proposals, 5 different companies, and looked at them, and it might as well have been in a different language. So I dumped them all, uploaded them into ChatGPT, and I said, you're the expert. Review these proposals, give me the benefits and and the risks associated with each one. And it did that and said, do you also want me to help you negotiate these? I said, yes, please. And it said, this one's way overpriced here. This one you need to talk about. I don't even know the word anymore, but it told me exactly what to say. It wrote the email for me to send back to these contractors, got the proposals down, and I felt like an expert for about 5 minutes, although I don't remember the language right now of what it was. But it's an interesting way when you aren't an expert at something, you have ChatGPT or Claude, and you can make it the expert and put the information in there and ask for what the outcome is that you're trying to get.
I'll just jump in. I love using it for travel. We did a summer family trip through Japan and Korea this summer, and we were all just constantly in there trying to maximize efficiency. I don't know Seoul's geography that well, so we'd say, if we want to go to all these places, what's the most route effective, least time-consuming way to hit all these spots, and for shopping and for restaurants and constantly. So travel, I think, is a really great use case, especially a place you haven't been to before. All right, we are at a women's conference, so the reality is AI and tech have long been male-dominated industries. From your perspective, let's start with Heather. What do you think it will take to get more women not only using AI, but accelerating change and also shaping its future?
So I think representation matters. I think seeing more women in leadership and AI matters. I think having conversations like this matter. and also just conversations with your friends, conversations with at home with your family, and being able to make it a topic of conversation and something that people understand. You don't need a computer science degree to use AI. It sounds like you do, and sometimes it can be really intimidating, but we're really at the very beginning of AI and where it can go. So I think inviting everybody to be part of the conversation and encouraging them to just try it out.
Yeah, I would also add that I think seeing more, coming from like a startup space, seeing more builders and founders who are women in this space and who are building products in AI with applications that are more inclusive and have, addressing women's health issues, et cetera, is really important. And of course, there's structural challenges here, just with, it's only something like 2 or 3% of VC funding goes to women-led companies. So expanding that, so it's also really important to have more women investors, women in the boardroom at private equity and VCs and stuff. And yeah, I think that can, have a impact long term.
I think, I think about like women being very much like natural problem solvers, collaborators, and I think about how, most of the time we're just like, okay, we're going to figure it out. And I think that it's very important that we all think about like, well, we're going to lean on these new technology tools to help us also problem solve, because that could also not only help us, but help others. The more that we really think about things from that lens, the better. Because I think a lot of the times there is that intimidation factor, and you're just like, well, that is something I have to overcome. I'll just do it later. It's just so important to be well versed in it right now, which is why I would love every one of you to just code something for yourself. Because if you can try to solve something for yourself, you're going to be like, I could do this across the board, at work, at home, like with my relationships. There's so much empowerment there.
Jumping off of what you're saying, so in Web 1.0, men naturally are faster adapters when it comes to technology. In Web, I think we're in 4.0 or 10.0 now. You're kind of seeing the same trend, and what I would really encourage women to do, because we're so creative and we understand empathy. If you guys use AI more because of those two traits that we do have, we will be able to train these models with AI knowing what we know, and with us filling it up with creativity and asking questions from an empathetic lens. And I think that's so important, especially now, and just feeding it as much as possible. I'm not sure if you guys have ever tried to create an image on ChatGPT. Have you?
I have, and it's bad.
Terrible.
Bad. I'll be like,
terrible.
Can you add sunglasses to this person's face?
Oh my God.
His eyes were closed.
I can't.
They changed the whole face.
One eye's like open, the other eye's closed, and then sometimes there's like you ask for a title, and it's like missing a whole word, and you're like, that's not what I asked for. So please, for that sake, use ChatGPT and just keep telling it to correct itself. I think that's where we could really use some more work.
Okay, Heather, we're gonna have fun now in our remaining two and a half minutes. I'm just gonna plow through these with you, Heather. We'll go through each one. So this is lightning round, fun stuff. So Heather, favorite AI tool or app you've used personally this year? Don't say ChatGPT.
Opus AI is pretty cool for cutting up long form video.
Okay, take note, guys. This is where you take notes. Heather, if AI could take one thing off your to-do list forever, what would it be?
Oh, it's what Vanessa was talking about. It's that mental load of being able to like tell my kids, like, make sure you got socks on in the morning. Did you pack your homework? Do you have a snack? All of those things. If I could remove that, that'd be amazing.
Amen. Do your kids or family use AI, and what surprises you about that?
So my daughter actually basically planned her birthday party using it. Unbeknownst to me, I walked in and she's like, add to cart.
And she's how old?
She's 6.
Yeah.
But I looked at my Amazon cart and it was full of like pink glitter, sequins, everything for her party, and it shocked
I would
me.
expect nothing less for
Yeah.
your daughter. Two more. What do you wish you knew 10 years ago about tech or AI that you know today?
I think part of it is how it compounds over time, because even now, as I think about, I have multiple accounts on all the different AI tools, but if you can be more organized about it, it can compound and learn you and your business and what your needs are better. So I think knowing that earlier would have been better.
Amazing. Okay, Niamh, favorite AI tool or app you've used personally this year?
I started using an app called Dream Interpreter AI as a joke recently, but it's actually amazing, and it started to it feels like it's seeing into my soul. So I recommend that. Yeah, it's weird.
Can someone compile a list for all of us, please? If AI could take one thing off your to-do list forever, what would it be?
I don't know if it's a to-do, but a task. I really hate driving, and I would love to not drive.
That's coming. Do your kids' family use AI? What surprises you about that?
Yeah, a little bit. I have an 8-year-old daughter, and so we'll sometimes do ChatGPT to generate a story about her and her friend or whatever. But we're also trying to limit her screen time. So my husband made up a game which is called Chat DAD, where she can give him any prompt and he has to generate a story for her, which is at first it was cute, but now he's just exhausted all of the time, you know.
Oh, I love that. Okay, we're out of time, but I'm going to go really fast because we can't leave you out. Vanessa, favorite AI tool or app you've used personally?
Granola, it's a great note taker.
And if AI could remove one thing off your to-do list?
Cleaning my kids' rooms.
Oh, yes. Okay, Sonya, favorite AI tool or app you've used personally?
Bordy and Comet, which is an extension by Perplexity.
And if AI could take one thing off your to-do list forever, what would it be?
The thousands of WhatsApp chats that I have and just putting them into one channel.
Amazing. Let's give a round of applause to these great women. Thank you all.
Absolutely fabulous. That was terrific, guys. I took lots of notes on all of these things. We're going to take a quick 10-minute break now and go ahead and enjoy the marketplace, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.